Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Thank you for watching the show. It takes courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, and today I have very special guests. Today they all look absolutely beautiful. They all are ready to have fun. They all are ready to share their voices, to share their hearts with you. And I have with me today the authors and co-authors from the book. She's no, from the book Brave Women Stand, the anthology, who just hit number 1 on multiple countries. So congratulations to them. I'm going to bring each of them up to the stage so each one of you can see them. So I've got Emmy, Leslie, Holly, Jan, Jerry, and Melissa. Hello, darlings. Come off mute and say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you. And don't they look absolutely beautiful? They're just radiating and shiny. And, it's just, we're going to have a fun conversation that can, our intention today is help to serve you and make a difference and hopefully give you some hope into shining the light in your lives. So before that, I just wanted to really acknowledge the anchor and the curator of the whole book project. Like without her and standing, has being unshakable, being persistent, being committed to sharing this woman's voices, this woman wouldn't be here today. So I just wanted to congratulate and truly acknowledge Emmy Hernandez for all your incredible work, for all your persistence. It was hard work. It wasn't easy. And Emmy, thank you so much for being who you are and for being the stand to this woman, Emmy.
Thank you so much, excuse me, Dr. Izdihar. As you know, it is very hard work. And on the day that we hit #1 international bestseller, like the universe was on my side. As soon as we got the news, my body said, okay, I'm done. And I've spent the last 4 days with the flu. So isn't the universe so miraculous? It's so beautiful. It's like, okay, we're done for a while. Let's go celebrate in bed. So I am just so honored that these ladies said yes to being part of this anthology. It is one of the most vulnerable books that I've ever been a part of. And I feel so lucky and so blessed that these ladies chose to come from behind the curtain and share their stories. Many of these stories are being shared for the very first time ever in their lives, including many family members that don't know many of the things that happen. So the things that are shared in this anthology are very powerful and they are meant to save and change lives.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Emmy. And let's just give, why don't you give everybody a quick introduction about who you are and quickly what you do, and then we can start introducing these beautiful ladies.
Beautiful. I love it. Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Emmy Hernandez. I am an international expert love and relationship coach. I spent my early 20s in some very toxic relationships, decided that I wanted to change my brain and change my life. And because I did that, I learned all of the techniques and the strategies and how to use frequency to be on my side to not only meet the love of my life, but marry him. And we live an epic, amazing marriage and relationship here today. And what I do now, and I have dedicated my life is to share the wisdom and to share the strategies and frequencies to other women around the world. And because I get to do that, I get to meet so many other incredible women. And two of the ladies that are on the line here today have actually gone through my program and they have personally met their soulmates as well. So I would say that our strategies work.
Fantastic. Love it. Love is in the air. And we could Emmy knows I watched this what do you call it, like that Love in the Podcast, what is a reality show? So she knows that we've talked about red flag, green flag. We've
All
talked
the
about that in
time.
our previous previous conversation. So thank you so much, Evie. That is so exciting. And next, I just want to say hello to Leslie. Leslie, come and say hello and give people a 30-second introduction about you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Cervantes. I am a career and empowerment coach, and I left a toxic job around this time, December last year. And through working on my mindset and undoing patterns that no longer served me and replacing them with patterns and beliefs that actually empowered me, I was able to build up the courage to not only quit my toxic job, but also to find a career that's both rewarding and fulfilling so that I no longer have to exchange my happiness or my health or well-being for a paycheck. And I actually get to help women do the exact same thing. And I have already. So to be on this journey with each and every one of you and to have had Emmy's guidance through this is truly phenomenal and truly epic. And I get to experience all the magic that the world has to offer us and teach women how to be able to do the same.
Beautiful. What can I say? It takes courage, right? And to this point, I would say you've grown some balls, Leslie, right? You've just like grown some balls,
Definitely.
like honing it, like having it. And at this point, some women will be really mad at me because they say we have ovaries, not balls. And I'm not talking about testicles or ovaries, but really the courage to fight the fire of like, no, thank you. This is not for me, but actually seeing what's possible, right, Leslie? That's something happiness and health is like possible when you have it. So thank you so much, Leslie, for having that. And next, I wanted to bring up Holly. Holly, come and say hello to everybody and give a bit introduction about who you are and what you do.
Hey everyone, I'm Holly Kitchens and I am a brand strategist. I help unknown entrepreneurs expand a digital footprint, so help them overcome having a lack of appearance, maybe online, social media, wherever the case may be. So really, truly just helping others stop hiding behind a logo, letting people discover who they are and who they're doing business with. And I do that various ways, such as podcast launching, social media strategies, getting featured in media, so on and so forth. So yeah, I have my own agency where I help entrepreneurs just really be the go-to in their marketplace.
Fantastic, like taking off the veil of who they are and just let people see, sharing the voices. Like for me, what I fight for is people's voices without prejudice. Let the people see you, who you are is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Holly. And now let's bring up the party girl, Jan Adamson. Come and say hello to everybody. I have a quick introduction about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be here with this powerhouse of ladies, first of all. And I'm Jen Adamson. I'm a manifestation and mindset coach. I help high achieving women to attract the level of love and abundance that they desire with ease. And my story, just real briefly, is not 20 years ago, in my early 20s, 10 years ago, I was manifesting things on the top of my game, reached the proverbial mountaintop in my career, had everything, the money, the title, the accolades, the cars, the vacations, all of it, thinking that that was going to bring me satisfaction and fulfillment and that I was going to feel worthy finally. And I realized that I was addicted to the vicious cycle of toxic hustle culture and as well as like the cycle of achievement. So now 10 years later, moving to India, becoming a nurse part-time, and now here a life coach for the last year and a half, I get to teach high achieving women that you can still have it all, that you can have it all and also be satisfied and happy without compromising your ambitious qualities.
Beautiful. And it's kind of like the redefinition of wealth, isn't it, Jen? Like I thought wealth has more and more and more, but when I had to look what wealth is actually simplicity, like the simplest things in life is wealth. And which part of India are you at? Because my daughter Nadra, she was born in India, in Bangalore, at Cloud9 Hospital. So which part of India are you at?
I traveled all throughout the northern and western. So I started in Delhi, and then I went up to Dharamsala where the Dalai Lama lives, and I lived a mile away from where he lives. And then I went to Rishikesh, and then I went to Rajasthan, and then I kind of traveled that circuit for 6 months. It was incredible. I learned so much while I was there, especially the energy and quantum physics and the law of attraction while I was there.
Amazing. Well, namaste, Jan, and thank you for that. And Jerry, darling, come in and say hello to everybody and give a quick 30-second introduction about who you are and what you do.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jerry Christine, and I am a life coach who helps overly or very, I should say very committed type A professionals reconnect with their soul. Much like Jen, I had reached the proverbial, climbed the proverbial ladder. My husband and I, as Emmy says, are real estate moguls. And we own 7 different real estate businesses. And my introduction a few years ago was very different than it is today. It was all about work, never about being a wife and a mother, which I am also. And slowly my soul was dying inside, and I became very depressed, and I just kept thinking that there has to be more to life. Like, this cannot be all that there is. And it took a few years to just completely transform my life. And like Jen said, we still have the 7 businesses, but now I do what my soul wants to do and nothing more than that. And I've become very good at delegation and very good at learning how to say no and how to say yes to the correct things. And now I live a life that is not a lot different on the outside, but completely, completely different on the inside. And I love sharing with other people how they can do that too. So your life doesn't have to end. And if you don't want to go live in India for 6 months, you don't have to. That's a beautiful journey, but not everybody can do that. And so I help people reconnect with their soul in a way that is comfortable, and maybe everyone on the outside doesn't see, but on the inside, and you're grateful every single day for your life.
Awesome. And can I just say hello, type A personality? Hello, like I know because I'm one of them. But that is what made us so successful. But also, kind of we had to learn, like Jerry, you had to learn how to shift things about because the very thing that we created, and then suddenly we become the slave to the monster that we created. And that isn't life. So thank you so much, Jerry, for having that. And Jerry, absolutely right. You don't have to go to India to find yourself. I was in India. My husband gifted me at a sanctuary Ayurvedic stuff. I didn't find myself then. I found myself in America. So there's no need for you guys to go, on a soul searching thing because it's already within you. So thank you so much, that Jerry. And can I just welcome Melissa? Girl, you made it, girl.
I did.
Overcome the technology. Come and say hello and give a 30-second quick introduction about who you are and what you do.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Jenkins. I'm a women's empowerment coach and influencer with Crown for Success and Boss Ladies Mindset, which is the largest women's empowerment network for soulful CEOs on social media. And for the longest time in my life, I've always had a desire to help people. I've always wanted to inspire people, to motivate, but I really didn't know how to do it. And I've always wanted so much more in life. And, I struggled years just being broke and just financially struggling. And I really did not know how can I really just create a life that I really desire to have and help people at the same time. And so I'm grateful to be a part of Crown for Success and Boss Ladies Mindset. And as an influencer, I create content empowering women to basically create the life and the business they truly desire to have, and also to become the best versions of themselves. So I'm just grateful to be in a position where I can empower people. I can give other entrepreneurs and women a spotlight and really just help them to just achieve whatever it is they want. Because, that's really what it is. No matter what you're going through, it's like, as long as you have a dream and you believe it, you can achieve it. And I had to learn that for myself. And that's what I basically teach others now.
Awesome. You can feel like she's like vivacious, right? Like her energy is kind of like infectious. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I love it, love it, love it. And absolutely, like the only way your dream isn't going to come true is when you quit on it and you say, I don't want to do this anymore. But if you stay loyal to your dream, you hold on to it, you keep on going over and over and over again, your dream is going to come true. And not only that, you don't know the rippling effect that your dream can have to your loved ones, to the people around you, and to your community. So that is beautiful. So thank you so much, darling. So next, I want to have like a little bit of one-on-one time with you, ladies, and I shall be having a couple, some one-on-one time with you. I want to start with this beautiful, amazing lady that we've known each other for some time, and we've done multiple projects together. So, Emmy, again, amazing thing that you have done, incredible things. And you mentioned it's like a roller coaster, and I'm like, absolutely. Emmy, can you imagine we sit on a roller coaster, we sit on it, and it's flat. And then it's flat, right? And then you'll be like, where is it? Like, I remember when I was in England, working in England, my coworkers and I went to Alton Towers, which is the ultimate amusement park. I hated roller coasters, but I went in just, because my colleagues want to go. At the top, it goes up, and at the top, and then you look down, and then, and then like it went down, right? And then I was like, I hated it. And then I went back to another roller coaster like 5 minutes afterwards. I mean, let's talk about your story. You mentioned that you were kidnapped when you were in your 20s. You're still in your 20s, right? So you were.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you're still in your 20s. Yeah, we all are, darlings. Okay. And then you mentioned also, but there were so many things that was, like you call it the red flag, but then you still kept on going, right? To the point that you're like, it was non-healthy, it was toxic. But what was it that made you kept going in that? That's what fascinated me, that that it wasn't, something was a little bit off, but what made you kept going in that relationship? Hopefully your lessons and what you've learned can help people see the signs and help them to break through from this vicious cycle.
Yeah, what's fascinating about my story is that I was kidnapped when I was already a well-educated woman. I already had my degree from Berkeley. I had climbed the proverbial, corporate ladder. So it's not like I didn't know the world. I grew up in the streets of Los Angeles, East LA. So I was street smart and academic smart. But what happens, and what's missing part of the picture a lot of people don't understand, which is why a lot of other women like myself who are very successful find themselves in situations where there is domestic violence, whether it's psychological, emotional, or physical, is that it is human nature, okay, to complete a pattern. What do I mean by that? Is that as adults, we will seek a partner that gave us the same emotional connection and familiarity that we had when we were growing up as kids. Okay. I learned this from Dr. Shefali. And what happens is we tend to think that we're looking for someone like mom or like dad. But that's not necessarily the case. What we look for is what is familiar. What was familiar to me is to grow up in a household where my mom was very cruel. I was the oldest, of 7 kids, and she had to take care of everything and everyone. And to make long story short, she didn't know any better. She did the best that she could under the circumstances and with the tools she had in place. But with the information she had in place and the tools she had, she was, for all intents and purposes, very, very mean to me and to the kids, because that was the parenting style back in Mexico. And she brought that, continued to parent her kids like that in the US. It was the best way that she knew to protect us. Okay. So I know that now. But while she was protecting us, she was also doing a lot of psychological damage. And that was my emotional home. So my emotional home then created me seeking that out as an adult. And that's why so many of us stay in toxic relationships, because even though it feels gross and even though we cry, it's so familiar, it feels like home. And that's exactly how I felt when I was growing up. So that I wanted to explain that a little bit, because it goes beyond logic. There's no logic there. It's an emotional home in the nervous system. And that's what happened there. And it wasn't until I did a complete rewiring of my nervous system and of my brain where it was clear to me, oh no, this man is, not only am I not attracted to him, I am repulsed by him. He is disgusting. And since then, every single person that I can see red flags from like a mile away, which is why I can help my clients with that as well, which is why I consider that one of my superpowers, to be able to catch red flags, sometimes years before others recognize them.
That is awesome. And it's kind of like, sometimes when adversity happens and we cry, we, blame ourselves, blame others. But now I'm like, thank God that happened, because now we can learn about this and this. Oh, yeah, no, don't do that. And, we have the tools now, not only to help ourselves, but to help others the best way they can. And I really love what you said about your mom, Emmy, that she did it the best way she knew how, because that is her blueprint. That is her, the blueprint that she carried over probably from generations. But, thank you for, acknowledging that, and that she did the best that she can. And as a mom myself, I messed up all the time, but I'm doing the best that I can in a way that I can know how. So that is like key in kind of like, what are the red flags, what are the green flags, that's like, for those of you who are looking for it, just go and reach out to Emmy for that. We also had several conversations around this. But I also wanted to kind of like bring back to what is like one thing you can say to women who craves for a healthy, happy, loving relationship, but they're like, circumstances doesn't allow them, or they've lost hope in men, even though that's, I don't know how many billion men out there. So what is like your biggest advice to them?
My biggest advice to those of you who yearn to have that amazing, beautiful love, because you have so much love in your heart to give, and you want to just spoil someone else with that, is to give it to yourself first. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. When you live your life recognizing just how much love is in your heart, I want you to give yourself that love so much. So I want you to spoil yourself, cherish yourself so much, so that actually makes you magnetic. It makes you live in the frequency that by default is going to attract someone that wants to spoil you and cherish you that way. So often we want to give that love to others, but we don't know how to receive it. We don't know how to say yes for help. We don't even know how to say yes to a compliment. When was the last time someone complimented you with something you were wearing and you said, oh, this whole thing? No, just accept it. So we need to be more conscious of how we receive, because that is the feminine energy. And Dr. Izdihar, you and I talked in previous shows a lot around feminine, masculine energy. So we're not going to go into that right now, because that's its own episode. But I do want you to know that if you are seeking help in this, I have a whole bunch of free resources for you that you can download from my website, or you can get into the frequency. There's a free book and a free meditation. Okay. I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. It started with me retraining my brain to match what was in my heart in order for things to change first. We need to change the way you see yourself with gratitude, with the excitement, and also know that if you are yearning for that type of love, that means that is meant for you in this lifetime, because not everyone yearns for it. And guess what? I'm going to tell you a secret. There were some days where I also lost hope. Yeah, I know, don't tell anyone. But it's scary sometimes. But I want you to know that if you, in your heart, know that you're meant to have that incredible, beautiful relationship, even if you don't know where he is right now or where she is, do not, I repeat, do not give up hope. Keep going until it comes true, because I guarantee you it will. But you need to surrender to the magic of the universe first.
Beautiful. Surrender to the magic of the universe first. And it's also, I think, it, things starts to change when you have resolution within yourself. Like whatever it is that you have to resolute. And those people who are resolute, who are courageous, who are brave, they are the most attractive people. Like people couldn't help like being attracted to them because they're resolute, they're complete, they're at ease, they're at peace, they're at peace of who they are. So thank you so much for that, Emmy, for that beautiful reminder of who we are, and for things to change, I must change first. Thank you so much, darling, and we'll come back to you in a moment. So next, I want to say hello to Leslie. So Leslie, in your chapter, you talked about you were in the law enforcement before. So, but then, you had a realization that hits you. I'm like, okay, this is enough. And this is what I want to do now. And what was that transition like, Leslie? Was it scary? Was it exciting? Was that something that you've always known, but you were scared to take action? Or did it just like suddenly, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do? What was that transition like? Because a lot of people, they want to do this, but they're stuck here for years.
Absolutely. So when I first started working for law enforcement, it had been my dream career since I was a little girl. And it took me 8 months just to apply and pass the background check to be considered for the first interview. There were multiple interviews. And so once I started working there, I was like, I've made it. Like, this is success. I have reached, what I thought was financial success. I had a really nice, shiny, star chrome badge that I was able to carry on my person. And it wasn't until about 4 years into my career when I realized I was grateful to have my career, but I felt like I was being called to do something more. And in addition to that, I felt like there were certain things I was doing that was no longer in alignment with the version of myself that I was 4 years later. And so I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. And I cried a lot, like at night into my pillow, like mascara down my face, because I felt so alone and feeling this way. Like, how could I have this career that thousands of people apply to literally just to take an exam before even being considered for the rest of the process? And here I was feeling like there was something different that I wanted to do. And so it wasn't until I actually started working with Emmy as my business coach where I was able to validate what I was feeling. And that's something that I tell my own clients, that we as women can be both grateful in our current career and have a desire and feel a calling to do something bigger and better. And so I just finally learned that this career that I had for 7 years was always meant to be part of my process, and that's okay. It was 7 years of learning and a stepping stone to be where I'm at today and who I'm at. But what really caused me pain, and what I see causes pain in many other women too, is that I tied so much of my value to my job title. And so when I made the transition, my ego was so much louder than my truth that it was trying to fuck me over by saying, you're nothing without your badge. You're nothing without this career. What are you going to tell your family? Your friends are going to think you're lame. You're a fucking quitter. And you know what I realized? Leaders know when to quit. Leaders know when to move on. Leaders know when to reposition. Leaders know when to step the fuck up. Like, leaders know when to rise and pass the baton to someone else and say, hey, this career was purposeful in my life, and I know it's going to be purposeful for you. And sometimes, just like people, some careers come into our life for a reason and a season, and my season was up. And it's okay to transition careers multiple times in our lifetime. And I know, like, generations past, like my parents, they come from a generation that no matter how toxic a work environment is, you hold on to that job no matter what. Like, don't get divorced no matter what. No, it's okay to divorce our work if it's no longer serving the bigger purpose that we're meant to be a part of. And so it was scary as hell, but I've realized that my worth comes from my heart and like the way I think and my intention towards serving others. And that hasn't changed. I served in my previous career, I serve now, and I'm going to continue serving until like my last breath. So it's all good and it all works out.
Spot on, darling. And like you touched something that who you are, it's not because of your badge, it's not because of your title, it's not because of the crown that you wear. Because I think those shiny objects, Leslie, actually diminishes who you truly are. Because you kind of have to hide, like, I can imagine Leslie walking out with a thing and then splashing the badge, right? But that gives you a certain kind of authority, but it kind of also downplays your humanity, your vulnerability, your compassion, your faithfulness, your truth in your heart, because you had to be a certain persona for that particular shiny object. So, and it was scary, which is, I think nothing good in life, the miracles in life doesn't happen if you're not scared. It always happens because you're freaking scared about things. And also you touch a point with pivoting, redirecting, not completing things. I think Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, said, you have to master the art of not completing. I'm like, what? I've always been told successful people always complete things. And then you are kind of like, I reiterated the same thing. You know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to finish it because it's not in alignment with me. Mm-hmm. So, Leslie, if you can say an advice to your younger self, to the 16-year-old you, what would you say that, by the way, everybody, Brave Woman Stand is available on Amazon if you want to go and grab a copy on that, or if any of you want to have a personalized copy and maybe an autograph version of each of the authors, just go reach out and touch base with them. So what would you say, Leslie, to the younger version of you, or to the women around you who are yearning to have this breakthrough or the freedom to cut ties with, and also to serve in another capacity that's calling them? What would be your advice?
I would say you deserve to have it all, and it's okay to ask for help and do it scared. If it scares you, do it anyway, because all the magic in life is on the other side of our fears and on the other side of your comfort zone. So dare to be brave, dare to be bold, and step on the other side of your fears and watch the magic unfold, because that's where it's really at.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I feel that could be your book, Dare to be Brave, Dare to be Bold. Like, that could be the upcoming. Thank you so much, Leslie, for ideas and for sharing your voice. And you're so brave, Leslie. Like no other guest I've had in the show would like use certain words that you use, but you're so brave. You just own who you are, and I really appreciate about you. Don't ever change, okay, darling? Thank you so much, Leslie. And next, I want to bring up Holly to the stage. Holly, let's talk about your chapter and the inspiration that you had with your chapter, because you went through a certain journey as well, right? Mm-hmm. So I want you to talk about, your biggest inspiration in your journey, and also why did you choose that particular story to share? And I think Emmy said earlier, majority of you, this is your first time sharing your story, sharing your voice in this capacity. So what was your turning point, or what made you choose to share this story?
Well, I think it's because I made like a 180 or a complete turnaround from where I was and how I grew up. So I grew up super poor. Like we were on welfare. We grew up low income housing. To say that I knew struggle is definitely an understatement. I mean, I remember as a child, like we would even eat food from trash cans. So growing up that way, it's obviously you don't have a lot of things. And my kind of shyness started in first grade because I had this little crush on this boy, and I tell this whole entire story. You guys definitely read it all. I'm not going to share everything, but long story short, I was embarrassed because I only owned one pair of jeans, and he called me out and asked me that, like, why do you only wear one pair of jeans? Not understanding that we were so poor, that was the only pair of jeans I had as a child. And from there, I in my head told myself attention equals negativity. Like, lay low, don't ever bring attention, because once you do, I always associate that with some kind of bullying or something that would come negative effects of having the spotlight on you. And it really spilled into adulthood growing up. My first I guess entrepreneur job was being a real estate agent. And as a real estate agent, of course, you have to brand yourself out there. There's so many real estate agents out there. But the team that I was on, I was very fortunate because I got to hide behind my broker's face. His pictures were on the billboards, his pictures were on the for sale signs, everything. I got to play it safe and lay low. And it wasn't until 2017 when I wanted to dabble into e-commerce. I hired an e-commerce coach, just like any professional. You guys hire coaches wherever you want to do better in business and so on and so forth. And he had asked me, what are you doing different than Amazon, or what are you doing different than Target? You can go to both of those places and get Guns N' Roses shirts for like $12. Why would someone come to your online only boutique and pay $36? And then that was a kind of a pivotal moment when I realized if I really want to be an entrepreneur, if I really want to be a CEO, if I really want to be the leader of my company, I needed to put my big girl pants on and show people and let people know who they're doing business with. Because what I could do different than Target and Amazon is, like, they don't have Holly Kitchens. That was my power move, right? So I had to get over that mental block of not letting people know who I am because of a fear of rejection or a fear of someone making a bad comment or like haters or whatever the case may be, which was so funny because it was an imaginary story I was telling myself in the head that's not even true. And I started doing that, putting myself out there in business, letting people know who they're doing business with. And once somebody bought from me, they always stayed with me. And I think that was the moment I realized, like, the power of really connecting with people and letting people know who you are and what you stand for. And my entrepreneur friends started taking notice, and they're like, wait, who's doing your stuff? How are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm doing it myself. And it was just amazing to be able to go from that shy, embarrassed schoolgirl to being an entrepreneur, putting herself out there, understanding how to stop hiding behind a logo, to now I have my own agency where I help people stop hiding behind their own logos and helping them show up online and let people get to know that. So I think this is really just an inspiration of allowing people to say, you know what? It's okay to be you. It's okay to let your people know who they're doing business with. It's okay to put your face out there, put your story out there, because you never know who you're going to align with or connect with, and who's going to, you never know what doors are going to open once you do that and put yourself out there.
Awesome. I mean, thank God for that boy you had a crush on, right, Holly? Because he kind of like triggered. That's why you don't know the rippling effect you're gonna have on people. So thank God for that crush. I don't know, what were you, 5 or 6 or something like that? Like, you had a crush on that, and then he said, like, suddenly, like, why do you have the same gene? So it's kind of like, I think, like, at the end of the day, like, people buy people, like, people connect with you because who you are. There's so many other people who do probably similar things like what you do, like the rest of us do. There was something in you that you don't realize that is the bridge between you and them, and that is your job to kind of like show that and not hide it, like, revealing, unveiling, on YouTube they always like the unboxing things, right? So you gotta like unbox
yourself. Yes,
that's right, unboxing yourself again. That is, another story for you, unboxing myself in this situation. So thinking about what you've gone through, Holly, and connecting with people, letting the visibility part of people, because how can people buy into your brand or buy your product or services if they can't see you? So what would be your number one action or, tips that you can give people so that people can, start to own up who they are, start to put themselves out there, rather than hiding, doubting themselves, or, being scared, just put more of themselves out there. What will be your biggest tip?
I would say, for people, it's asking yourself, what's holding me back? So for me personally, it was that fear of rejection. It was the fear of having someone say something, or I was so worried about other people's opinion, which is so funny because I'm the complete opposite now. But I identified that, okay, so first off, what's the worst that could happen? Somebody puts somebody that's not a nice comment. No one's going to die. I'm not a brain surgeon. No one's life's on my hands. So it's understanding like what's the worst that could happen and then accepting it. Accepting, okay, you know what? There might be that one person that doesn't like what I have to say, but that doesn't mean anything to all the people who I'm going to attract and who wants to do business with me. So for me, it was that fear of rejection. But then I had to have the realization, though, it was like, okay, so are these people coming from a place of love? Probably not. If they're keyboard warriors that, are saying mean stuff or doing whatever, at the end of the day, do they have my best interest at heart? And once I understood that and I started being more comfortable putting myself out there, that's going to be kind of like the kryptonite, if you will, to that imposter syndrome or whatever is holding you back. It's taking that action. So I would just challenge everyone to go out there. It's like, ask yourself what's holding yourself back and really do some deep work on that, because it won't happen overnight. There's still times where I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm out there, I'm putting myself out there. But at the end of the day, that's a reflection of yourself, and you're just almost being selfish. You're holding yourself back because of selfish purposes. If I wasn't putting myself out there, my clients wouldn't know that I existed. I wouldn't be helping my clients let their clients know that they exist. So at the end of the day, realize what's holding you back and just tackle it and take action.
Like, what's holding you back? What's the worst thing that could happen? And kind of have a reflection on that. Whether it's the truth or is it not, and then looking deeper, and then taking action from there. And then I just I remember when I first approached Emmy to be part of my book project, Women Who Lead. Girl, I was scared. I was like, I didn't think we should reach out. I don't think I want to do like I was scared, right? But my vision was bigger than that. I wanted to share people's voices. And so I'm like, reach out, have a conversation with her. And, thank God she said yes. So she said yes. We worked on multiple projects together. And little did I know that here we are today with all of you beautiful people. Like, it's going to be scary, like rejection. It's going to happen. But that's just part of the process. And the right person would always say yes to you when you both are in alignment. So thank you so much, Holly, for that beautiful tip. And can I just say, I don't know who that boy is, but you should send him a card and say thank you to that your little crush. Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you.
Next, you're welcome. Next, I want to bring in Jen. Jen, let's just do this because we're like partying.
I love it.
Darling. Thank you. Let's talk about your journey, things that you have gone through. So you fell down multiple times, there's so many things that's just it's not even like the frustration, the anger and everything. But what made you get up every single time, either in redirection, either in letting go, either in releasing, either in moving forward? What was the thing that made you get back up again over and over again and stay in the game?
I love that question so much because if you do read my chapter, you can tell I'm a windy road. It's not linear for me. And that's just not who I am. And I finally a few years ago came to that acceptance and embrace that part of me, because the way that I've lived my life is very nonlinear. But because of it, I used to have a lot of shame, but because of it, I've learned so much. I've experienced so much. I've taken on so many pearls of wisdom and have been able to integrate them into my own life. And now I get to help women do the same. But I would say, to answer your question, the biggest thing is I've had this insatiable desire to be curious. I feel like I'm like a scientist, and that's why I'm a nurse. And, if you look at my resume, it spans so many different areas. But now, I'm a practicing registered nurse part-time and a life coach. And I just have this desire to learn. I'm a student for life. And everything that I have experienced has taught me some invaluable lessons and blessings that I have this honor, this distinct privilege to now share with women. And I love what Jerry said before, because you're right. You don't need to move to India to do what to learn what you need to learn. And I teach my clients that too, but it's this curiosity and this willingness to explore and this willingness to keep an open heart and know and say, you know, what my ego wants me is telling me to do it this way and to handle it this way, but my heart and my intuition are saying something different. So let me listen to that, which is scary to do. Can feel very scary.
Absolutely. It's kind of that curiosity, right? Because you're like, oh, what if we do this? What if we do this? And then, your mind says, no, 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 we
Yeah.
got to stay here. And
Yeah.
then your heart was like, but this is it. Like, this is what I love. Or I don't want this. Or your mind said, yes, you need to go for this. But your heart was like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to this. I want to have this, which is like gives you the but listening to your heart, I feel it's the divine guidance and kind of like showing you what needs to happen. But how can we listen to our heart, Jen? Because a lot of times the mind is so busy thinking that it stops us from. I think was it Oprah Winfrey that said that when I make mistakes because I didn't listen to my heart or something along that line. So, what would be your advice, Jen, in kind of like trusting that your heart is going to guide you as the compass to for the highest good?
Yeah, that's such an honest and authentic question. I wanted just to add on to what you said too, is it was scary. 10 years ago when I quit my corporate job, I was speaking on stages and consulting Fortune 500 companies. So when I felt the pull to leave that career, I felt crazy. My ego was screaming at me. I was like, what are people going to think of me? I have all of this success. What is my family going to think of? Are they going to think that I'm a failure or a big loser? Am I going to think I'm a big loser for doing this and leaving to find what my authentic soul purpose and passion is? And you have to work through that. And to answer your question, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. You have to follow those breadcrumbs. You have to be willing to allow yourself to be curious and know that it doesn't happen overnight. It is going to take time. But when you connect with yourself, when you ask yourself those honest questions, that's really where you find the answers. And that's where you find the magic.
Beautiful. So just be truthful to yourself, right? That is like the magic and finding the key to what you do next. And oftentimes it may be scary, it may be the opposite of what people usually tell you, but ask yourself that honest question, or in other words, be truthful to yourself and to your heart. Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you so much, Jen, for that. Sorry,
no worries. I have my daughter right in the background right now. My mom's trying to get her ready for school, so it's life, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, darling. And next, I want to bring up Jerry. Oh, yeah, that's why I said your name, because you were next on my mind. Jerry, let's talk about your message in the chapter, because it's bold. It's a bold message. It's something that maybe people around you may not be expecting on what you needed to say, because you're like the successful 7 businesses kind of thing, but then you said something really heartwarming and something really vulnerable that you shared. So I want to kind of be curious, like, what was the inspiration in that story? Because it wasn't an easy thing for you to say, because you're supposed to be this powerhouse. So what was your inspiration in sharing that story?
Yeah, so it wasn't easy. My inspiration really, I prayed about it for weeks, maybe months, before I finally made the decision on what exactly I would speak about, because I do have a lot of life history and success in business. And it just kept coming back that I had to be completely authentic and speak from the heart. And so my inspiration was a couple things. Over the years, I've had many women who have very vulnerably shared the hardest parts of their story in order to help me find healing. And that's probably my biggest inspiration is, every time I've found that I'd share my story, the parts that people don't expect from me, it gives somebody permission to find healing in their own lives. And we can be successful in so many different areas in life, and it's never completely authentic until we find the healing that we need to do, at the very base, like the very basic, lowest, like deepest part of our heart, the part that, we put a box around, a metal box, and lock it up tight. That part really has to find healing in order to find true happiness and bliss in your life. And I've seen people, so many people, become successful or think that they want to go down a certain career path because it sounds good, or it's the next best thing, or someone else thinks they should do it, and then they find themselves unhappy. Or, like myself, I have 3 adopted children, and we've been blessed to have them each since birth. And I thought that was what I wanted with all my heart, only to find out it was the hardest thing in the world. And in order to find true joy being a parent, I needed to heal the parts of me that were still hurting. And so my inspiration was just to share the truth of that, because if my story can help one person, then it's all worth it.
That is really, really deep, Jerry, because to find joy, right? And then, because, when you become a mom, you had a certain perception on how a mom should be, how it should do. And then when you're in it, you're like, everything goes out of the window. You're like, oh, everything goes out. I've got 3 kids as well. Like, everything goes out of the window, and sometimes you doubt yourself, like, are you doing the best that you can? Sometimes I feel like I'm just gonna go to Marriott and just like Hawaii and just sweat my card, and I'm just gonna go for like a break. But it's that joy finding thing that is kind of like the key, and that only happens when you start to heal yourself and you getting complete in yourself. So thank you so much, Jerry, for that wonderful joy, like reminding us of like having joy in our life is a blessing, and it's our job to find it when we start to heal ourselves and complete ourselves and resolute things in ourselves. So thank you so much for that, Jerry. And next, I want to say, bring Melissa to the stage, girl. Like, okay, let's talk about what you shared in your chapter. But I wanted to kind of like zero in to your advice and the wisdom that you give the women about your chapter, because I think that needs to be highlighted. So, just quickly brief, like a quick idea on what your chapter is, but let's give people one biggest wisdom from your chapter.
Yes, thank you. Yes, the biggest wisdom. I titled my chapter "From Broke to Not Struggling No More," and I did that because I'm at a point in my life right now where I remember struggling, financially. I mean, I literally was to the point where I had nothing. And I got to that place in my life where it was like, okay, if not now, then when, right? And so I titled it "Not Broke to Not Longer Struggling Anymore," because I felt like even though I'm not where I was then, I still have a ways now. And I wanted people to know that the whole point is you can, whatever it is that you have a desire to have in your life, or whatever your dream or your goal is, start right where you are. You don't have to be like, people have this perception that they have to be successful in order to start something, or, you know, or to work towards a major goal or what have you. And that was the whole message of my chapter. I wanted to bring women to this point where it's like, if whatever your dream is, start right where you are and work from there, connect with the right people. And more importantly, and probably the most best of all, is to not give up on it. Because that's the whole basis of my chapter. My chapter basically goes through the entire struggles that I had, but even with every struggle, I never gave up. And that was what made me stronger. The adversities that I had is what made me stronger. And that's really the message that I want to get to women, is that, you know, with all the adversities you have, no matter what your situation is, don't ever give up on it. Just keep being persistent in it, and eventually the reward will come.
Wow, that is just, you know, like like what you mentioned earlier of like, just start where you are. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Just take the first step. And you know what you've gone through, your adversity is going to make you stronger. I feel like I should sing a song. You know, what is that song that's stronger? Na 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 na, make you stronger.
Yes.
Na, na. What is that song?
Stronger. I'm trying to think who sings it though.
Right.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
That's right. When I will make you stronger. I don't know
if it don't kill you,
singer.
it'll make you stronger. Yep.
That's right. Really.
Yep.
What doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yep.
That's right. So that is it, right? It's kind of having that wisdom to have faith in yourself, to know that no matter what you're going to go through, and just to start. Just to start wherever you are. It's whole, perfect, and complete. It doesn't have to be perfect. Because I remember when I was starting, you know, shifting my my niche, like I'm like, okay, which one? That one, and I'm just gonna run with it. And the rest of the people, they're like 10 years on, still nailing down their niche or researching their niche, whereas I have retweaked it, redirected, and you know, had I put a pause or you know, think things through, I would not have been here today. So thank you so much, Melissa. So let's bring everybody up as we're going to be wrapping up the conversation for today. Okay, darlings, let's wrap things up with this. In 1 minute, everybody's going to wrap up. Brave woman is. Melissa, we'll start with you. Brave woman is, one word, go.
Courageous.
Courageous. Okay, Jerry, brave woman is, go.
Connected.
Connected. Jan, brave woman is
empowering.
Empowering. I thought you were going to say fun, darling.
Fun. Always fun.
Okay, Holly, brave woman is
inspirational.
Inspirational. Leslie, brave woman is
Bold.
Bold. And let's wrap up with the anchor of the project, the woman who stood the ground to make things happen. Emmy, brave woman is
you.
Yeah, wonderful. And Emmy, I feel like, you know, we've got like several stories coming up. We dare to be brave. You know, thank you to the boy that crushed my heart. You know, like I think we have a few stories like coming up from here. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. And thank you, Melissa, Jerry, Jen, Holly, Leslie, and Emmy for being here today and having this wonderful conversation. Until the next episode, this is your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. Tell yourself, yes, I can. And so it is done. Okay, darlings, let's say bye to everybody. Bye.